Welcome to my Essential Philosophy readings. Today we shall discuss a very important issue on gender equality or gender difference in ancient Greece. How women and the philosophers got along. Prior to the 4th century BC, gender issues had apparently excited little interest among Greek philosophers, unfortunately. Some of the scientific thinkers of the 6th and early 5th centuries had made use of the idea of a basic antithesis between male and female. The most prominent example is being found in the table of opposites produced by a group of Pythagoreans. Pythagoreans included in their list of 10 pairs of opposite principles at work in the universe the categories male and female, limited and unlimited, right and left, light and darkness, and good and evil. This was recorded by Aristotle in his Metaphysics in line 986a. The association between men and women and right and left was also to be found in the work of some pre-Socratic thinkers, in some early 5th century thinkers, as was Parmenides, for instance, who seemed to have believed that the sex of a child was determined by the place which it occupied on the right or left side of the mother's womb. Pronouncements such as these suggest that a number of philosophers subscribed to the notion of gender difference as a fundamental element in a world order founded on the interaction of opposed substances or opposed forces. By the second half of the 5th century, thinkers known as the Sophists were arguing harshly that values and institutions which were assumed to be grounded in nature were in reality social constructs, an approach which may well have influenced the dramatists' questioning of conventional gender distinctions in ancient Greece. But the fragments of the Sophists' work that survive give no indication of a specific interest in the male and female antithesis. It is only in the writings of the 4th century philosophers Plato and Aristotle that we find detailed discussions of gender relations and issues, a subject on which they came to widely differing conclusions, both of them, both Plato and Aristotle. First, we shall say something on Plato's vision of gender issues and gender roles and gender differences. In his dialogue, The Republic, which was probably completed by about 380 BC, Plato outlines his prototype for an ideal state. The society described by Socrates, a character in the dialogue, is a thoroughly hierarchical one in which duties and privileges are distributed in accordance with a rigid class system. The population of polis, of the city-state, is to be divided into three groups: a ruling class, a soldier class, and the class which provides for the economic needs of the community, workers. Rulers and soldiers, who are to be known collectively as the guardians, will constitute a small and politically dominant elite, and it is to organization of this joint group that Plato devotes the bulk of his discussions. As one of the characters in the dialogue comments, the guardians are not destined to lead particularly pleasurable lives. Their political privileges are not to be matched by any economic advantages. The guardians are to own no private property apart from the most basic essentials. All things, including women and children, are to be held in common. The language employed by Plato at this stage in his argument will be offensive to many modern readers, especially us women, but the explanation which he offers for the introduction of this revolutionary proposal throws a rather different light on this aspect of his perspective and his program. Therefore, Plato believes that the only innate differences between males and females are reproductive ones, and that these offer no barrier to women's equal participation in the highest positions within the state, within the polis. In an earlier section of the Republic, the guardians have been compared with watchdogs. Should female watchdogs, Socrates now asks, perform the same duties as the males, or should they be kept at home on the grounds that the bearing and rearing of puppies incapacitates them for the other roles and for other purposes? The answer, of course, is that duties should be shared, although it must be borne in mind that the females will not be quite so strong and so powerful as the males. The same is true of human beings. Socrates states, males and females have no distinct qualifications for particular pursuits, although men will in general display more natural aptitude for all tasks than women. It follows that there is no one function in society which should be reserved for either women or men. Both sexes and both genders are equally eligible for selection as guardians. The expression of natural male superiority which is inserted into this argument certainly distracts and detracts from the egalitarian nature of its conclusion, but it should be noted that Plato is not suggesting that all men are able to do everything better than all women. The same range of natural abilities is to be found in both sexes. Some women have an aptitude for medicine, others for athletics and sports, some women for soldiering, some women for philosophy, some women for poetry, just as among men. But within any one area of natural ability, the females will always on average be outclassed by the males. Hence, within the guardian class, it is implied, though not openly stated, the men will on average be superior to the women. However, the great majority of men will not be admitted to the class at all because they lack the necessary strength, solidity, courage, and philosophical temperament. In terms of their natural abilities, then, these men will be inferior to the women who do gain admission to the class. Nor will the inferiority of the female guardians mean that they will be relegated to the most lowly offices of state, for in a later section of the Republic, where Plato specifically includes women among those guardian jobs who have achieved a superior knowledge of the good and therefore qualify to serve as rulers. Equality of opportunity to enter the guardian class entails equality of education for both sexes within the class. Women will be given both a physical and an intellectual education, which is very important. They will exercise naked in the gymnasium alongside the men. Therefore, women shall be treated equally as men and will receive a military training, a very soldierly and very solid military training. There will be no sexual division of labor among those who participate in the state education program. Women will undertake exactly the same duties as the men, including warfare. But since they are physically weaker, they will be given a lighter share of their tasks.